Okay, we're taking a quick look here at SWS Golf, and we're going to be checking out the way that these featured posts and pages work. And we're going to go through each one of these things here and make sure that it's understood what these different options mean. So we have for category, right now we don't have any categories. We have all categories are uncategorized, which will amount to the same thing. And so you don't need to worry about that part, but typically you'd have a long list of categories, and then you could draw from specific kinds of articles. And so for something like this, you might have tips, you might have events, you might have whatever other random golf categories you want to have. Number of posts to show will be how many show up on the page where this is at. This doesn't control how many show up anywhere on the website, just on that home page part where that widget is. Number of posts to offset, let's not worry about that. Just leave it at that always. You can order it however you want, by date, title, parent, ID, comment count, or random. And then we have our order. You can make it descending or ascending. So if it's by date, then right now it's descending, and so we have the most recent, but it could go the other way, and we could have the oldest on there always, which would amount to always being the same article, I suppose, unless we predated articles. We can exclude previously displayed posts. That's not useful in this case, but it can be very useful other times, like on a news website. You don't want the same thing showing up several times. You can exclude sticky posts. Sticky posts mean that on a blog, you can make it so that certain posts are always at the top of your blog. And then we could make it so that then we don't include those as a part of this for whatever reason. And so the reason might be that that's an ongoing blog article, and so we only want the most recent content. We're not doing sticky post at this moment. There's nothing being used like that. You might need to implement that at some point. For a gravatar, that's a thing that exists in the WordPress world where you have an image associated with WordPress accounts, and you can replace gravatar with other things as well that would automatically replace it. We're not using that right now, and there'd be no reason to on a website like this. You can choose the size, and we could ultimately make other size options as well, but we'd have to get into code for that. And we can make it so that it aligns left or right. For showing the featured image, then if there's a featured image associated with the blog post, you know, there's the part over there on the right hand side when you're creating a blog where you can do a featured image, then we could make it so that there's a featured image, and if there is, then we can make it so that featured image shows up on the home page. But I don't think that's what we're aiming for right now, given the space limitations we have with that little box. If you did that featured image, you can make it thumbnail, home top, home bottom, sidebar. Again, we could create other size options if we wanted to, but we'd have to get into code to do that. Image alignment, left, right, center, just as you would expect them to be. It changes where it is. We have the show post title. We want that on the home page, and in this case, though, we probably don't really want to bother. Whoops, didn't mean to click on that. Probably don't want to bother with having all these pieces. Excuse me. We probably don't want to have all those pieces of information on the home page. Nobody really cares for this website here, so we're going to uncheck that. When we have a content limit, it's set right now to show content and then with a limit of 300 characters. We do want it to show the content, although we could do the excerpt as well, but I think we'll just stick with the show content for now. But we don't want it to be 200 characters because you might notice it goes over the edge, so we need it to be a little less than that. Maybe 275, and then we can try it a moment and see what it looks like. Read more. I'm not a fan of the brackets around that read more, so let's get rid of those brackets. You can place whatever you want there. You know what, even rather than read more, let's do continue reading. Just sounds kind of intimidating otherwise. We don't need to worry about this part here. No, we don't need to worry about that, but for what we're doing here. But you could make it so that then underneath the main post there is another very simple text-based list of other article titles, and that could be useful in a lot of situations. If you were to do that, you could make a title at the top of it, or you could not have a title at all. Either way is fine. You put the number of posts you want to show beneath that. And I really need to implement that actually somewhere else. I hadn't thought about using it in a different way. Show category archive link, and so you could say more articles that are part of this category. That doesn't apply in this case, but you could do it, and if you did, then it would be associated with whatever category you had selected right up here, and you can put whatever text you want right there. For the title link, then we want it to be that the title of the widget is going to be going somewhere. And so for these other categories, we want these to be linked. Sorry, my little hand pointer thing isn't working right now, so you can't tell that that is. But if I click on one of these, then it will go somewhere. And typically that's not the case with widgets. That's not the way it is by default. My images are gone here on that background there too. I need to fix that up. So anyway, we want to get rid of that there. We want it to be that everything fits inside there. We should be fine because it's already going to go up a line just by getting rid of that. And now we're going to click. We wanted this to go somewhere though. Let's go to /blog, and then it can just go to the whole blog. And we don't want it to go into a new window or tab. And we'll make that entire bar clickable. It's saved. We're going to refresh, see how it looks, and say that we probably want it to be maybe just a little bit fewer characters just to be safe. Even if it works in this moment, then we don't know if it will always work, depending on the length of words within the content there. That ought to be plenty, because even if it did ever go past the edge, let's also get rid of this here. We don't want to have double ellipses. If it ever does go over the edge, it will still fit within the box. It'll just be a little too close to the bottom. And hopefully that's actually the address for our blog. Yeah, it is. Okay. So we have that set up now. It looks much better than it did. While we're here, let's check out what the problem is going on with this and find out why we don't have the right colors going on there. I'm trying to remember exactly how it was before. I guess it originally had images back behind there, and then I guess I changed them over to being solid colors instead. At least I think I did. Yeah, I think it was something like that. I'm not sure how it changed so much. We'll do it that way anyway. And I'm not sure when it changed, because I don't think anyone else would have been messing around with this. But maybe they were. Okay. Everything looks good on this page now. One thing we want to check with that featured article real quick is to make sure that it keeps working all the way through the different sizes. Oh, see there? Different sizes of our boxes here. We don't want that. We have options. We can make it so that all the boxes are this height. We could also make it so that we have a limited title length, but I don't think that's set up by default. I would need to have a different widget installed, so we're not going to do that. We'll just make it so that this works in the CSS here. And so what we want to do is you go down to the very smallest size before you have the next set of changes that happen. And so the way responsive things works is you have different levels of changes at different points along the way, and we will see it should be 1023 pixels, and so we're going to go to 1024 pixels, the last place before we get to that. And if you look in the upper right hand corner of the screen, then you can see it. And sometimes it's hard to get it just right. There we go. Oh, nope, somehow I have it set up at a different amount slightly. Let's see, maybe I made it 1024. Nope, I didn't. And so it should be fine. It must have. Here we go. Just having a hard time. There we go. Now I'm on the 24. So what we want to do is we want to increase the size of these boxes just a little bit, and then we go inside here. Not that you're going to be doing this part, I just figured you'd like to know. And we will say that we have our home bottom 2, that's what this whole section is right here, and then we have our min height at 298 pixels. Min stands for minimum, surprisingly enough, and then what we have right now is that is a 330 pixel box, and so we need to go to that size instead. And let me make sure that I'm in the right place. Nope, I was in the wrong place. So instead of that there, it's down here, 289, 298. They're so close to the same. So, 330. There we go. Now they're all the same size there, but we really need them to be just a little bit bigger. Another option, it's just looking a little too far off for me. So another option is that we can decrease our number of characters, and so I think we're going to do that instead. And we'll kind of try to strike a balance between these two things. We need enough characters for people to be able to be interested in the article, but I think we could cut off a few more words and people would still be fine. And then we can get a point that's not quite as awkward looking. And now we are at a point where that is still saying it's 330. Let's see. It just doesn't seem to me that it is. Let's maybe figure out where we want it to be. I could be okay with up to 310. That's about where it could go. So I need to take off one more line equals another 30 characters. Let's try that. Let's see how close we get then. Yep, that should get us there. We can even get a little lower. Let's stay right there, though, I think. That's making it have that extra space there. Yeah, we'll go with 310. And now those are all lined up, and then you can see if we go a little bit larger, then a little bit wider screen, I mean here, then it still will continue to work there too. And that should work. Oh, but we've lost our changes to that color there. We need to change that color again. Really don't know how that happened. Maybe I had a lower opacity before. Maybe that was more the issue. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I think that would work fine like that. Now we need to take these changes that we've made and go take them over to the, typically we would do them by, we would make those changes by going over to the cPanel, but I'm not doing that right now. Be careful if you're not in the cPanel, it can get dangerous. I'm being careful. And just always make sure you're saving it in the right place. If you save it within cPanel on a change to CSS file, then it will be possible to undo it. And it's generally not easy to undo it if you do it here. I really should have kept going down all the way through on the responsive stuff to make sure that it went through all the way. So I'm going to check that again here real quick. And it's not letting me shrink my screen size. There we go. And that's fine there. Well, you know, we don't need to have our min height at such a high amount there, though. So once we hit the next level there, we really want to make that go down a little bit. And our min height at 1023, I'm not sure why I would have it quite there. That seems wrong. It should go down to probably 861. Yeah, it goes down to 861. And then I don't see any reason why it needs to be quite as high as that. I think if we just keep it the same as it is, yeah, we're good. We can just do it that way. And then after that, then there should be no min height, because then from then on we can just have it be that it's just each one is its own height, because it's not aligned with anything else. And so we're good. Make sure, oh yeah, there we have a problem with our font size needing to change. So at 480 pixels, then we have a problem. I think that's probably where it is. So it starts before then. You can make it at the 600 type point. Yep. That's not it. Pop this out of there so that we can see it more easily. And oh, I I see. It does all of them after that. Got it. Two, and so then what we do is it's home dash bottom dash 2, that's our general area, and then dot widget, a widget is a widget, and then we have all these options of nth childs where we get to identify which one we're talking about, and that should be 3. There we go. And we're going to do it at 17 pixels. That should work. Let's see if that keeps working correctly. Yeah, I think we're okay at that point. Everything else looks good. We're good. Copy this again. Go back over to that editor. Be careful. Make sure you're in the right place. Yep, SWS Golf. We're good. We're on style. .css. Everything's wonderful and beautiful and perfect. This one we were on earlier. We're going to refresh it and see if everything is looking right. Make sure that nothing changed. And we're good. And everything looks as it should. We should be okay now. And so we will say that is done.